Hello, and happy holidays, everyone. My name is Police Chief Peter O'Donohue at the Lore Boys Lore Precinct. I'm sorry to bring you all in here on the 26th of December. I know the holidays are busy, and we all have families to get back to, except, of course, Mikulski, as after 24 years on homicide, he has become a jaded shut-in. We look forward to his retirement after he beats a homeless man to death.
Jesus Christ.
I'm joined here by detectives Miller and Palmer. Just for the transcript, if you two could introduce yourselves and give out your badge numbers, we can proceed with the press conference.
I've been doing this for a long time, Chief. 69420 is my badge number. You know it, you son of a bitch.
So we have Detective Ethan Palmer, 69420, and Detective Miller, if you could also list the same information as the other officer, we can carry on.
Yeah, mine. My badge number is Boobies, but with all the numbers. And yeah, that one was really contested, but I got it.
Yeah.
And James Miller's my name. Yeah.
Right, very good.
We call him Boobs because he's soft like a couple of tits.
So we will also be fielding questions from the press at loreboyspodcast@gmail.com. And at the end of the press conference, we will also be reading a message from one of our Australian contacts. There were a string of break-ins on the night of December 24th and into the morning of the 25th. We will be going over some descriptions from various places. It would also appear as only Christian homes were affected, so our hate crime division is investigating some sort of motive, as at present, at the time of this press conference, we have no reports of break-ins for Jewish or Muslim families, although that information could change going down the line.
The bastard was in my house, Chief. He was in there when I was sleeping with my wife. My kids were in the place.
Yeah.
I want to get this guy.
I fell asleep. My cookies that I always leave next to where I sleep were gone.
We will find him. We will be going over several different reports that match up to the experiences of the officers present. Many of the descriptions are similar. However, in some cases, 2 or more suspects have been reported. It has been going on for some time. I have reviewed reviewed and linked the perp to several home invasions and some cold cases for the past 1,600 years, roughly. There are also possible links to Odin and his wild hunt. However, Odin is not currently under investigation.
It's hard to get in a room.
Isn't there a warrant out for that guy? I'm sure I saw an APB for him.
Not currently, to the knowledge, at least to this precinct. The earliest reports come from Anatolia, where a Christian bishop named Nicholas, or Saint Nick, as he's known on the streets of Myra, gained a reputation.
Sounds like a pimp.
See, this is part of the report that we will cover in a moment. There is some suspicion of sex trafficking. However, it is once again unknown, and we have no further comment on this subject at the time of this conference.
I had reports on my side. The red nose that he has is drug use.
We'll add that to the report.
Okay,
absolutely,
thank you.
We will absolutely
Thank
add that. Well, on that note, whether or not the secret gift giving was part of some sort of drug smuggling operation is currently unknown. However, he did gain some notoriety in Myra back in roughly about the 7th century. One witness states that Nick paid the dowries of all 3 of his own daughters to prevent them from becoming prostitutes. And this goes back to what Officer Miller here was speaking about here, whether this was the Christian thing to do or whether he had some stake in the game as a skin merchant. This is not known. He may have just been paying the dowries for these women to make sure they could be married off, as to keep competition off the streets. Nick, or the Saint, as he was almost always described, is an older Caucasian male with a white beard. As Officer Palmer over here was describing, just due to the break-ins, that we do have an APB out for men of this description, and we'll likely have a lineup.
I know I'm a cop, but what's an APB?
All points bulletin. Come on, boobs. You know this shit. Chief, send him back to basic. I tell you, we're looking for a fat guy who jingles while he walks.
No more outbursts from you, Detective Palmer. I understand you have a personal stake in this case. I get it, and I know tensions have been high between you and Officer Boobs for quite some time. However, we all just need to work together here to get this solved so we can all get home to our families, okay?
I want to get this guy, Chief.
We're all awake.
I want to nail him.
You will have your legally...
Comeuppance?
Yeah, you'll have your legal revenge at some point.
Well, I only signed up to be a cop so I could get revenge on people. You know that, right? You know that, Chief.
I know it's been slightly problematic in the past, but I've covered for you in the past, and I will cover for you now if need be.
Call me Detective Vengeance.
Detective Ethan Vengeance Palmer. He's likely between the ages of 50 or 60, and he traveled in canonical robes, which would be bishop robes, biblical canon.
Son of a bitch was in a bathrobe when he broke into my place.
It could have been confused. A burgundy bathrobe is also likely, so we will be keeping an eye out for something like that. We're searching dumpsters in and around a lot of the complexes that were broken into overnight. He was present at the Council of Nicaea, where reports say he slapped the taste right out the mouth of a man named Arius.
Wow. Santa's got some balls on him.
The last known location of the saint was in 1087 in the Italian city of Bari, although there are some conflicting reports. Some witnesses say it was not the saint and merely half a skeleton.
What?
What? Chief, what are you talking about? We're no skeleton that broke into my place and poisoned my dog.
What do you mean, half a skeleton?
We're simply stating witness reports at present. Excuse me for constance. This is, of course, no pun intended. It's simply just for the official transcription.
Did they say which half? Is it like, they fold him hot dog or hamburger?
Which bones were cited is not part of the witness report. They simply stated half a skeleton. Whether this was 103 bones exactly is currently unknown.
Is there 206 bones in the body of a human?
To the best of my knowledge, sir.
Does that count in teeth, Chief?
Again, teeth is not part of the report. As stated,
What's this fucker got to do with the tooth fairy?
Yeah.
I've had a problem with her for years, too.
they could be in cahoots, as there have been obviously many magical break-ins throughout history, especially since 1087. So the Tooth Fairy is not currently under investigation. However, he or she may be at some point. We do have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in for questioning, as we know he was in the movie The Tooth Fairy and likely worked with the Tooth Fairy while researching his role.
Yeah, in my department, we have a theory going that this man, he goes up and he drinks a lot of milk, eats a lot of cookies every single year, so many so that he burns through teeth faster than he can grow them.
So all the cookies.
Yeah, so Tooth Fairy's stealing the teeth to put them in the Santas, and the Santa's going and giving a little bit of cookies to the Tooth Fairy on the side.
The idea that there is some sort of Arctic denture racket is also something we're looking into. However, currently this is about the investigation about the break-ins, but Detective Miller, if you'd like to go up to the Yukon perhaps next week, we can station you there with some of the local law enforcement.
Tell you, if that jolly old bastard has teeth now, he won't when I'm through with him.
That's why we're sending you to New York City after this.
A cop punching Santa square in the teeth.
Oh yeah, I picture it every night when I'm standing in front of my mirror.
The mall Santa. Someone on his lap.
Don't even get me started about mall Santas, those hacks.
However, despite just to bring it back here, despite the fact that he may have only been half of skeleton, Saint Nick, or the Saint, is still the patron saint of both Amsterdam and Moscow. We will be sending several units for surveillance once the debriefing is finished.
So this guy, 8th century, shows up, becomes a patron saint of 2 cities, and nobody says anything?
And is also possibly involved in sex trafficking, and we know he is also involved in what is known as secret gift giving, and as Detective Miller stated earlier, it's likely drugs. Old-timey 7th century drugs.
And it sounds like maybe he's in the ivory import business with this half a skeleton, right?
It's entirely possible he is in the ivory import business. At the time, I don't believe it was illegal. However, we will be using our applicable modern laws to lock up this scumbag.
It's illegal now, Chief. It's
exactly.
illegal now.
Exactly. If I know anything about being the chief of police, is that laws apply retroactively.
Do you know the chief of police is just cop? If you use the acronym?
That's my badge number.
C0P, C0P, cop. That's why we call him Cop. Chief of police, cop.
Cop's so diminutive. Hey there, Cop.
It's better than his last name, Pig.
We have a few other reports coming out that have surfaced in Holland in the 15th, 16th centuries.
This guy went quiet for 800 years? Is that what you're saying?
Something to that effect.
Son of a bitch, he's good.
He managed to hit something like 38 million houses in the span of what is the average sunset during that time. So between, let's say, 6 p.m. and maybe about 8 a.m., he managed to hit several million houses. NORAD has some data that they will be forwarding us later on.
38 million. Jesus Christ, boss. That
Something
must have been
like-
the population of the planet back then.
It certainly,
This guy's good.
He's possibly the best, and it will be it'll be a landmark case if we can crack this one. Especially for the precinct, we might get some extra funding from the mayor, which is why we need to take this so seriously.
Hey, Boobs, hand me that ashtray. I'm covered in ash over here.
Yeah.
Boobs,
We're gonna
would
crack
you-
this case like a chestnut on an open fire.
Put him in the nutcracker, am I right? We'll deck his halls, oh boy.
The man that fits the description, however, in Holland has been going by the pseudonym Sinterklaas. That is 2 A's.
An alias, you
at
mean.
the end. Yes, exactly. Excuse me, I
Oh
misspoke.
boy, I can't wait for Sinterklaas to bring me all the presents.
Yeah.
This time, he has been seen with a traveling companion who has been referred to as Zwarte Piet, or Black Pete. He is the assistant.
My favorite part of Christmas every year is leaving offerings for Black Pete.
He has been described as Sinterklaas's assistant and wears colorful Moorish outfit and has been seen arriving from Madrid. He can be recognized easily if you see anybody. The files will be sent to everybody's patrol cars. He can be recognized easily as he is clearly just a Dutchman in blackface.
Oh no.
He can be found.
This is real? This is a part of the history of Santa? Oh. Please.
Oh, man.
We have several stakeout locations as he is frequently seen, or reported to be seen, that is, delivering candy to schools. Sinterklaas himself, however, is reported to look very similar to the saint from the past, as still a mid-50s to early 60s Caucasian male.
Fucker's still in a bathrobe?
He has upgraded a little bit since his hustling days. He now sports a mitre, which is the kind of cone-shaped bishop hat.
And like a fur coat or something? Or?
No, your original assessment, Detective Palmer, was correct. He has been sighted still in what appears to be basically a burgundy bathrobe.
Okay, but does he walk with a cane? Wear white gloves or something?
At this time, he has been cited simply with Zwarte Piet and a large red book. We have not discovered the book yet, but forensics will be taking a look and doing handwriting analysis of all older white men that we have currently on file to try and find out who exactly he is.
That narrows it down. Older white man on file.
Well, get him by his handwriting, I tell you. You tell by the loops and the L's.
It's been done before. What we're looking for is a pattern of recognition for the 2 A's in a row in Sinterklaas.
Oh, or we just get someone to write naughty and nice a bunch of times, and we'll see which ones match up.
Yeah.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
I do believe that we should probably implement that
Yeah.
afterwards.
Okay, gotcha.
Have we considered just trying to stuff all the old white fat men down a chimney? See which one fits?
Everyone in the town, the cops one by one are just stuffing people in the chimneys.
Yeah, well that's how we'll catch him. No number of crammed fat men is too many to catch this guy. I'm telling you, he's a menace.
I don't see the problem with such a way of trying to call it the Cinderella method, I believe, to find out who exactly fits the proverbial glass slipper.
Except this slipper is 3 stories tall and full of soot.
Also that.
You just need to call the DA chief. Get him in on this.
We'll have the DI on the horn shortly after the press conference is finished. He was supposed to be here. I'm sorry, he did have a family emergency, as it is, of course, still the holidays. The district attorney, however, we do have his assistant, and she has been told everything that we know. The book, the book that he carries around. This is where it gets a little bit more disturbing, so I do apologize to the press and anybody watching the press conference live. In this book, he apparently has a list of children who have been good or bad. We have reports as well that Zwarte Piet has threatened to kidnap some of what are known as the naughty children and bring them to Spain.
So this is like his strong arm, then, is it?
Wait, where was this legend made? Okay, all the bad kids have to go to Spain.
This is in Holland.
Okay,
Yes.
got you.
So
And it was the guy in blackface that said this. So
Yeah.
no, he's the one who took them. Yeah, I'll take you to Spain. Yeah. Okay.
So Detective Miller did.
I'll take you to paradise, you little piece of shit. You're gonna be eating paella for the rest of your days.
Oh man, I could go for some paella right now. Maybe a donut.
Boobs, you're always thinking of food. Somebody give me more coffee, black. Make it gritty, would ya?
Make it Zwarta.
Make it black as Black Pete's face.
That's bad.
Detective Miller, however, was not too far off the money in this case, as he has also been reported to be striking children with a willow broom.
Wait, is this Black Pete or is this our guy?
This would be Zwarte Piet. From what we can see, at least from what we've got here, is that Sinterklaas himself rarely gets his hands dirty, so to speak, which would probably
he's
be
always wearing those white gloves.
the lack of fingerprints. Exactly. Zwarte Piet seems to be some sort of muscle. However, we may be on the lookout. Zwarte Piet could just be a medieval chimney sweep.
A muscle like a mollusk, you mean, or
No, like it's
a clam?
like you've got Delts Day, you got Arms Day, you got Zwarte Piet Day.
Zwarte Pete Day. Okay.
Yeah,
when you have
He's
to
one
go.
of Santa Claus's muscles. Is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
All right, you don't eat them.
You've got to blast your Zwarts.
Oh, okay,
at
yeah.
Soot could explain the blackface. So
from the chimneys, right,
Detective Miller was correct in that assumption
Yeah.
there.
When I was in Poland, there was a lot of old pictures of miners who had blackface, but it wasn't like modern blackface as we think of it today. It was just a bunch of dirty miners.
They have black faces, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
And were these guys linked to Santa Claus?
Nah, well, they're in Poland. How far is that from Holland? It's closer than we are, though.
It's probably close.
Yeah, it's closer than New York. That's for sure.
I'm just the chief of police. I'm not a geographer, but I'm willing to assume and put it on the record here that I think it is officially probably quite close.
Is it officially inside our jurisdiction, the LBPD?
Yeah, it's entirely possible. Either way, we could have some of these soot-covered laborers at least extradited to LBPD. And then we can see if they have some more information. If any of them have ever made contact with Zwarte Piet, we should also probably check out some Cockney orphans, what with him possibly being involved with the chimney sweeping industry.
No worry, I got a contact in the Cockney Orphans gang.
Excellent.
If he was from Poland, it'd be Złotska Piotr. They're not allowed to be a Pete in Poland.
Oh.
They have strict naming laws, actually. You can only name Polish names if you're born in Poland.
Oh, that's interesting.
Well, it's just cop knowledge I got.
Just cop knowledge.
Yeah.
Just general cop knowledge, brushing up on Poland, you know what I mean?
Every cop.
You never know where
knows.
you...
Yeah.
Every cop knows about baby naming trivia from European countries.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's walking the beat, right? You just walking around in Poland.
No, we don't call it walking the beat in Poland. We call it walking the Piotr.
Oh, Piotr. Yeah, I know that. I did it too. I walked the Piotr.
Sinterklaas himself, however, while he may not be seen actually abusing or kidnapping children to ship to Spain, Sinterklaas has been sighted riding a white horse, as well as pelting onlookers with gingerbread.
Now, white horse, is that like a type of Cadillac or?
To the best of our knowledge, it is an actual horse. We do not have the horse's license number, but again, we are.
Sounds like drugs to me.
We are looking into it.
I know a couple chop shops. I'll ask around if anyone's seen a white horse chopped it up recently.
Check all those chop shops for horse meat.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Horse tartar. I know this one place. The horse tartar is out of this world. I tell you.
Another thing we're on the lookout for is a steamboat. It was also apparently seen, and we have an APB out on that, and the Coast Guard has been notified to look out for a festive steamboat.
What is that? That's part of the Santa Claus thing. Okay. All right.
Another associate that has only been seen in France. That we may be dealing with some sort of international operation,
Extradition process or whatever.
something along the lines. This may go way well above the LBPD, but we are going to look into this.
Chief, I'll never stop hunting this guy, but I'm not stepping foot in France.
That is okay. We do have extradition laws, so we can bring them to us.
Okay.
I just don't like their cheeses.
Hey, there's a lot of soft, stinky ones.
Yeah. I feel like the whole country will smell with all that cheese. You
That
know?
was my nickname.
Soft, stinky
going through
one?
the academy.
Sauce stinky one. Then you grow up to be Pig. And then
Cup.
and finally you got your promotion, you became Cup.
Well, you have to earn respect from the people.
Me, Detective Vengeance, wishes I had the respect that you had, Chief.
In France, however, the man we're looking for here goes by the street name Old Man Whipper, as he has been seen going throughout rural France, dispensing both coal and beatings to naughty children.
No present, no gift drops at this point.
Not that we can tell.
Just beating the shit out of bad kids.
As far as we know,
Well, that I can respect. You gotta hit your kids.
as far as we know, that's all he's been doing, has been beating children and dispensing coal. One thing that we are not aware of is the criteria that would net you net your name on the naughty list of this red book. And as I stated earlier, we still do not have the book as evidence. It has simply been reported to us by witnesses that Sinterklaas carries it with him.
Yeah, sorry for the noise there. I had to open my police and milk.
It's okay. It's all good.
Oh, there's another one.
Yeah, well, I'm drinking a beer, boobs, you pussy.
Boobs needs his milk. What I gotta say, you know?
I mean, I stopped by the evidence locker on my way here. I need something to take the edge off, you know? I'm all tweaked out right now.
As far as the motives go, it's unclear. We are going to have the BAU look into this. We're having some of our friends in the United States take a look.
BAU.
The BAU.
Ow!
The Bowerton Assessment Unit.
Deck the halls with bows.
Oh,
of
there
holly.
it is.
That is a little. That's a little cop pun for you there for the holidays.
That's a very police joke. For the holiday.
Yeah, well, of course it's a police joke. We're in a police precinct. You know, every joke we tell in here is a police joke, you know?
You're right.
Now, as I was stating, this was an international incident, but it all seems to at least stem from Europe. In some of the older Dutch colonies,
Should have known those European bastards.
there are some impersonators or copycats for Zwarte Piet. However, they paint their faces with all the colors of the rainbow, opposed to black with chimney soot. So we are also looking for some people still in colorful Moorish dress, but with rainbow faces.
Did they have a parade a couple months ago?
I believe they did. We weren't allowed to go, so.
Yeah, fair. We haven't done them well.
This was your assignment here, Palmer. I was wondering if you'd be able to embed with these what we've designated Rainbow Pete's to investigate their network. Similar MO, Sinterklaas is known for having hit multiple houses, leaving behind gifts which may or may not be some sort of calling card, similar to the Wet Bandits from Home Alone, which up until this point we did believe was simply a film, but now that we are dealing with folklore, basically all bets are off here.
Well, yeah, Kevin Callister's my nephew.
That's the
I went on
half
that trip.
That's the half a skeleton they saw. It was just Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah, it was a half a skeleton, fake bones propped up on a train, moving around the living room with strings attached to his hands.
A little bit of spooky to your Christmas. And despite, however, some of the stand your ground laws in some states, no one at the time of this press conference has come into conflict with Sinterklaas. He comes and goes without much trouble.
Some of those kids that he beat the shit out of, right?
Well, those were his associates, correct? We have all seen Old Man Whipping and Zwarte Piet beating children.
Oh, I thought Old Man Whipping was him. But Old Man Pete was Zwarta Pete's. Old Man Whipping was Zwarta Pete's alias.
Are these our children or their children that they have?
Yeah, they're
green
French
hats.
French kids.
Children of the world.
Children of the world.
French
Children
kids.
of the world. Yeah. Okay.
French
Like
kids.
cheese.
Yeah.
Not their employees. Gotcha.
We're not majorly concerned with the well-being of French children. However, our hearts go out to them.
It's not our primary focus.
Yeah, no, we'll change our profile picture for a week, but we're not going to do anything about it.
I'm not putting no French flag up on my Facebook.
If the press here could hold their questions for the next witness report, detectives, you are obviously free to request clarification. Some witnesses state that the bearded man was accompanied by a half-goat, half-demon, opposed to a Dutchman in blackface.
All right.
His street name is Krampus, or Krampus, depending on the local pronunciation.
Cream
of
puss?
the-
What?
They do that in Australia, right? Cramp. I just saw a GIF. No, a GIF.
I believe it's GIF.
Yeah, it looked like honestly a satanic Christmas. There's like people in like like goat horns and like big old feet, and they're like dragging balls of fire down the main street. Krampus is messed up, man.
He does. You are correct there, Detective Miller. He does commit similar crimes to Zwarta Pete and Old Man Whipping. However, he has been known to kidnap children. Where they go is unclear, whether it be Spain or somewhere worse, if you can imagine it.
They went to go live on a farm somewhere.
It could be.
God forbid they ended up in Greece.
Ugh. Excuse me, as chief of police, I am not supposed to editorialize. I'd like to apologize to the press for that.
As Detective Vineyards, I'll editorialize as much as I fucking want.
However, the beatings are different. Reports state that the Krampus beats children with a length of chain, opposed to Zwarta Pete's chimney-sweeping branch.
Sounds like my old man. I got back from the war.
He apparently, from what we can tell, accompanies the saint on his break-ins, and is described as being covered in dark brown or black hair. He may be
Sounds like my
some
old
form.
man after he got back from the war.
Is that brown or black? I can't tell.
Dad, you're not the same man you once were. This is me as a kid, by the way. You're not the same man you once were.
We
you
are
went away
following
with brown
up.
hair.
Yeah,
You came
yeah.
back with black.
Detective
all
Palmer,
around.
how old were you when you started smoking?
About 4.
4. Shit.
We are following up with some of the witnesses to see if any of them were colorblind. So we are checking. We may also be looking at some sort of Jersey Devil or Mothman.
Yeah. Cop over here and I on the way to this actually saw a blind man in the middle of the street. On Lost, this is a real story.
And you guys were off duty, so you didn't do anything.
I was
about it,
off
right?
duty,
Oh,
but
no, we
I
helped.
ran with my 6-pack of beer and I guided him to the middle or to the sidewalk. But that was scary. But he's definitely colorblind too.
Well, yeah.
One could assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, all evidence
Can't be
points
one
to-
without the other, am I right?
I'm not much of a cop anymore, not much of a detective since I've been behind a desk being chief so long.
Yeah.
But one can assume that the man who did not know he was in the street
Yeah.
also presumably cannot see.
That was really scary.
Being blind and colorblind go together like being a cop and being an asshole. You know what I mean?
If you could be an asshole without being a cop, but if you're a cop, you're gonna
You're
be
gonna be an asshole. Exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
gotcha, yeah.
Asshole is the colorblind. A cop is the blind.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Got you.
Um,
Why did I get that so fast?
You look for similarities in things, boobs.
Yeah,
I give you that.
boobs love symmetry.
Yeah.
He does. He does like to be even. Speaking
Even the word boob, you spell it backwards.
Yeah, just like your badge number.
No, well, that boobies.
well, his badge number.
8008135.
Yeah,
Come on.
close.
Right.
Good.
Except that, but backwards, because you got to spin it upside down.
Yeah.
Once again, Detective Miller proves to be right on the money, as Krampus is, in some cases and in some witness statements, described as being asymmetrical.
Okay.
So you might not be a fan of him, if I can.
It
What
looks
are you saying? He's got like a little hand or something?
It looks.
1 foot is reported to have a cloven hoof, and another one is a dark and hairy humanoid foot, similar to a Sasquatch or Yeti.
They all look like Danny DeVito out of Hercules,
All right,
and
like
except
this.
they don't know how to stand up straight.
and his other foot is not like Danny DeVito out of Hercules.
Yeah.
One thing.
I love that. That's the one VHS we have here at the precinct. It's Disney's Hercules.
We're all eating our donut. Zero to hero.
And just like that. Most statements refer to the fact that he has a large pointed tongue that dangles from his mouth at all times.
Ooh.
So whether he is asymmetrical or not with the cloven hoof, we will be making some plaster casts of footprints outside of some of the homes.
Hoofprints.
If there are hoof prints, that is correct. It may also have been the horse that Santa Claus is reported to have been riding. This is all going to come together.
Do we already get this description to a sketch artist?
We have, yes. It's being processed at the moment and being shown to some of the victims of the home invasion.
Yeah, it's most likely hoof prints, not footprints, because if he's gonna have shoes, he's gonna need 2 different sizes. It's an ordeal.
Exactly.
So it's hoof prints. Yeah.
The
Although
tongue,
you just throw one shoe out, right? If you got a hoof on the other foot.
Who's got money for that?
Well, you don't need it. So you're spending the same money on shoes either way.
Well, you're buying 2 pairs of shoes. We need 1 pair of shoes.
No, you only buy 1 pair of shoes. You don't need
ya.
a shoe for your hoof, boobs.
Evens, I tells you.
arguably, we could be searching through dumpsters for someone who has purchased exactly 1 human shoe and 1 horse shoe. That would be a good...
Wait, you said cloven hoof, not horse hoof.
Oh, correct. Excuse me.
I don't know the
Police chief,
difference.
not a farmer.
I don't know.
He ain't
the
that lucky.
No.
There's a cleft in the middle of a cloven hoof.
Ah.
Oh.
That's why they call them cloven hoofs.
Well, clove doesn't mean cleft.
Well,
This is why I'm a detective and you're a rookie, okay?
You
Well-
literally stole the words directly out of my mouth, Detective Palmer.
Is a
And this one, you're chief, cop.
is a 4-leaf clover cleft 4 times?
Yeah?
4-leaf
One
clover.
clover cleft 4 times.
Okay, gotcha.
Why is it so hard to follow?
No, I'm on your page.
Back to the report at hand. The tongue issue might actually just be a junkie who's too high for his own good. So Miller, I'll ask you to head down to the trailer park and see if any of these skeets know him. You don't need to bust anyone today, however. Just be sure that they toss out their crack pipes.
Yeah. I'll make sure that it's actually cracked first, and then we'll figure it out.
No, we'll figure it out. We'll take it to evidence. You give me a call.
Yeah,
give me a call. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
leave the
Yeah.
whatever bullshit Rainbow Pete thing I got going on. I'll come see you
see.
for evidence booking. Yeah. Okay.
You're
Yeah,
both cleared to stab a knife into any large bricks of white powder and taste it off the tip,
All right,
if
perfect,
need be, for
One of the many perks of being a cop.
police reasons only.
Big old spoon.
That's why I carry a machete as my chosen knife.
Yeah.
Every cop gets to bring 1 knife. I bring a machete. You never know when we're gonna be fighting in the. You know they call New York the concrete jungle. Huh? What do you bring to a jungle? A machete.
Yeah. What do you fight concrete with? Shit.
Machete.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Machete.
cocaine.
What do you fix it with? Flex tape. But.
It's topical.
There were
I try and keep up with the kids' memes. You know, I gotta know word on the street.
the best way.
I thought for a while this Flex Seal was a drug, but it turns out it's just an amazing product.
The best way. The best way to be a successful detective is to cast a wide net on knowledge bases.
That's what I am, the best detective this precinct has.
Yep. He's a wide net. He's not good at catching one thing, but if you drag it around, you'll catch a bunch of things.
That's right.
Tiny parts.
Throw
of
me in a
many
lake
things.
and drag me across the bottom. I'll come back with some dead bodies.
You know we will.
That's a weird way to say that. I mean, cool.
That's why we hired you.
That's like the classic idiom there, boobies.
There.
Why did that get me so good?
There have been a few reported kidnappings in reference to the Krampus beast or junkie. So keep an eye out for a suspicious-looking goat man with a large basket on his back.
How are they connected?
With
Saint Nick and Krampus. Are they separate entities?
They are separate entities. They appear to be working together. The Krampus appears to be some other form of sidekick or hired muscle, possibly another muscle zone for Saint Nick's gym.
What's the deal with our guy Zuber Pete at this point?
Zwarte Piet seems to have all of his mischief localized to Holland and Dutch colonies. So, once again, extradition laws will figure out what to do.
All right, but he's there. He's good. We got a lock on him.
To the best of our knowledge, you are
Last known location.
Last known location. We have. He's not hard to find. He is bright purple and orange.
He flies
And-
Ryanair between the two.
And he's in blackface.
And he's in
From what we
blackface.
understand,
And he's probably the only person in Holland right now
at
in
all
blackface.
times. Yes, correct. Yes. Finally, we managed to get a little bit more local information. It's a little closer by. As I said, we'd be sending you to New York later on, Detective Palmer.
The Rainbow Pete's. I got you. I got you, Chief.
Those would be in the Dutch colonies. You'll be going to New York first.
You know that New York was originally called New Amsterdam?
I did know that. However,
that real?
not
Yeah.
the colony. Yes, it was renamed
This is all
after
real.
the British took over.
Yeah, well, New Amsterdam's a little mouthy, you know, like it's like
It's like one too many syllables.
yeah, New York.
Too
Perfect.
many vowels for boobies over here.
Just one too many syllables. If they
Yeah.
just took off one syllable, like the new, I think they'd be good.
Yeah, Amsterdam. yeah, Amsterdam would be a really good name for a city.
That's a
you're
good
right.
name for a city, right?
Yeah. Someone should do that.
Or Old Amsterdam.
Too many
In
syllables.
New York and Northern Canada, we got some more information here. Once again, same thing, multiple break-ins, and the same calling card of gifts and coal. This time, however, the elderly white male has been seen traveling by himself and with reindeer instead of a horse, so the reports on the animal are not entirely clear either.
That's deer that you can rein in. That's good.
We're going to have
Cloven
probably
hooves.
a biologist in to confirm that, but that's not entirely out of...
No, that's what it is.
Cloven hooves. Do they wear any shoes, these reindeer?
They got Uggs. All of them.
Well, that would be impossible to track. There's millions of those.
Yeah, exactly. He's thinking ahead.
We'll never be able to prove if it was some four-legged beast or if it was just your average suburban white woman.
These are the troubles with being a police officer.
Yeah, one of the many challenges we face every day, along with having the mental acuity of a ninth grader. Makes our day-to-day lives very difficult. Makes donuts all the more enjoyable, though.
We are a fan of sugar bread. Yeah, that's correct.
Oh, I like
Fried,
sugar
deep
bread.
fried sugar bread.
The same calling cards are present. Some gifts and coal left behind depending on the child's perceived behavior. Once again, we do not know how...
Better than a beating with a chain, my old man always said when he got back from the war.
that is correct. In the Americas
brown to
and in
black
northern Canada, there have been no reported demon beatings at the time of this press conference.
Yeah, so according to Boobies, he's in Australia.
Yeah.
Yes.
Although this time,
Lower Boys PD Cannon.
Yes, put a dab on the record.
your dab has been noted.
Thank you.
It will be put in asterisks in the transcription where it is star Detective Miller dabs star. This time, however, in the Americas, the white male did take something. This time, the bearded man did take cookies and milk directly from the homeowners.
That's your cookies and milk.
Yeah, happened to me.
We're establishing a pattern here. We're establishing a pattern.
This
Okay,
is no
okay.
longer just a case of home
Now-
invasion.
Now
This
we're getting
is-
to the good stuff.
Now we're getting into
It's all coming
a
together.
case of robbery. Exactly.
Just like Pepe Sylvia. It's all coming together.
We managed to recover some glassware from 34th Street, and that is currently being tested for DNA. Canada Post as well. We managed to get some information. They provided us with the postal code.
Canada Post, which serves as Canada's post office and also their intelligence agency. Am I right?
That is
And their
correct.
train stations.
And their train stations. That's right.
That is correct. LBPD here, we are not situated in Canada, so we do not know. To my knowledge, Canada Post serves as some sort of mail and or strike delivery service.
Yeah.
The postal code H0H0H0 was provided to us, and if read out aloud, similar to Detective Miller's badge number, will say ho 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 in the same way that 8008135 spells boobies.
You were right,
Oh, when you look at it upside down.
pimp. You were right. He is a pimp.
It's entirely possible.
You write it backwards.
It is entirely possible. Well,
Oh,
backwards would be
Ho ho ho.
O.
Wait. No, ho ho ho. You said.
Ho 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 would be if you read his postal code aloud. That is correct.
Yeah, but he's got hose, is what we're saying.
No, I understand that we are still talking about the skin market. His
Ew.
patterns have been fairly
That's
consistent.
a gross way to say that.
You gotta harden the boobies. You'll never make it as a cop in this life if you can't handle talking about the skin market every once in a while. Chief, I've had it with him.
Gentlemen, please. We can discuss it with Human Resources after the press conference is finished. I understand that you two have been working together for a long time. However, we're still going to have to get along. I understand this is stressful, that we have 1,600 years of home invasions and child beatings to get through.
And we're a precinct of 3, goddammit.
It's going to be a long couple of nights. Well, there's Mikulski as well.
Pass me another ashtray. Mine's full.
However, one thing we do need to keep an eye out for is that his street name has changed to Santa Claus. Though for obvious reasons, we will be assuming this is the same bearded white male as Sinterklaas.
This is our Saint Nick.
It would appear, though, he simply westernized his name a bit to make it a little bit easier to pronounce.
And
also
also
street cred.
Yeah, it's street cred because on the streets, you got brass knuckles, you got Santa Claus,
Oh,
and you,
right.
you can get right in there.
Brass knuckles, Santa Claus.
We will be looking, in that case, we will look into some sort of discreet assault weapon that we can then once again look for prints, unless he is still, of course, wearing the white gloves.
I pulled a set of Flamin' Hot Cheetos teeth off a guy the other day.
We have sent some officers up to the HOH-OHO postal code location. It seems as though it is towards the geographical North Pole on Ellesmere Island.
Not the magnetic north.
Northern Canada. No.
Geographic.
Magnetic North is always moving.
My last call with the detectives that left before the press conference, they are currently refueling in Craig Harbor. Santa was seen wearing a wedding band as well, so we are expecting at least one other person in the house when we find the location. It is likely an elderly woman, though the bearded man's orientation is not currently known. But we are expecting a spouse of some description at the location.
A bottom bitch.
Yes.
I think that's what they call them in the streets.
Yeah, it's the woman who's above the rest of all the other enslaved women.
Which is counterintuitive because they call them the bottom bitch. But
It is the colloquial term.
Yeah, but the bottom line is something that you're interested in business, right?
yeah,
The bottom
because it's
line,
at the
yes.
bottom of the ledger. You're right, boobies. When you do your taxes, there's always a line at the bottom.
I don't do my
And that's
taxes.
the most interesting one.
So this here, gentlemen, I suppose we've all been briefed here. This would conclude our press conference. Please send any questions to loreboyspodcast@gmail.com with any information, witness statements that you may want to add to our 1,600-year catalog of witness statements. Anything suspicious you may see. We did get one statement from one of our Australian contacts, as I stated earlier, which I will read now.
Okay, wait. I have to say, we're in character right now. Thank you so much for reaching out. And Pete, you can say a character, but thank you for sending us an email. If anyone else wants to send us an email, we will read it on the cast. And this was sent to us as our first viewer mail. It was super special to me. Happened on a day where I wasn't feeling so great, and you made me feel really, really good. And everybody else, send them in. We'll read them. Back to...
Boobies. What the hell are you talking about? Chief, I think he's having a stroke.
It's okay. Like I said, we will be speaking to human resources afterwards to make sure you two can sort out your conflict. However, if you are going to send information to LBPD in the future, please specify whether you want to be referred to by name or if you have some sort of username that you'd like us to use.
Yeah.
For this instance here, we will be using the name that was provided. Our contact in Australia says, "Hello, lore boys. Just want to say that your show is honestly one of my favorite podcasts to listen to while I work. The only problem is sometimes you have me laughing out loud, which is a little embarrassing at work. Your lore breakdowns are always top-notch and leave me wanting to play the game or watch the movie straight away. Keep it up." From an Australian listener, Thomas.
Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you, Thomas.
We would like to
Yeah,
thank you, Thomas. We'd also like to apologize to your employer, as we are a capitalist podcast, and you're only as good as the labor that you can provide.
And laughing's not a part of that.
We will cut out all of the humor at this point to ensure that you are as productive as possible.
Yeah.
And then Detective Palmer, I believe there is an offer of some description if anybody would like to support the precinct financially.
We're doing our annual LBPD bake sale. So if you want to get some of these sweet treats that we provided for you, sprinkled with a little bit from the evidence locker, make sure to send some money our way to LBPD at LBPD.
There is also
We'll get it up with our machete.
there's also some lewd calendars you can purchase of myself, Detective Palmer, and Detective Boobies if you wish.
You might think you want the Detective Boobies photos, but the
You
Palmer
really don't.
ones are the real good ones.
I look good. I look good in nothing but a pair of suspenders. What can I say?
Yeah,
Where the
yeah,
money's
yeah.
at.
What can I say? I got a badge on my junk. What can I say? What can I say?
It says 6'9", 420.
The month of December, I'm just pouring milk on myself.
I'm actually interested now.
Well, I was trying to catch Santa Claus at the time. I was trying to get him to show up.
We are still trying to catch Santa Claus at this time.
Oh, man.
Once again, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out here, ladies and gentlemen of the press, for this press conference. I know the 26th and the holidays is a hard time, but this would conclude our press conference, and this would constitute a Lore Boys PD.
An LBPD out. Over and out.
See you guys.
How do we miss over and out?
I know.